What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. So today I'm bringing to you the winners and losers of the April 2019 ban list. Now that the dust is settled and we've had about 24 hours or so to digest these changes, I like to make this as a follow-up video to my ban list reaction video, just because we can take a little more in-depth analysis and critical approach to how these changes are going to affect the format, and I think that's definitely a good thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and start things off with the winners, because honestly, there's a lot of winners on this ban list. This ban list did not really make that many changes, at least compared to some ban lists we've had in the past, and Konami did come out with an article stating that there wasn't really going to be a whole lot changing because the format's in a relatively okay place. We've discussed this for the past couple of months, and that's why I feel like we need to start with the winners, because overall, I feel like this list is a very positive thing. So let's go ahead and start off with Sky Striker. Sky Striker is definitely a winner here because, let's be honest, a lot of us thought Sky Striker might possibly get the axe, but realistically, Kagari to 1 was not that big a deal. Sure, the deck loses a big central component of its recursion, but multi-roll is still at 3, and players are already talking about other ways to kind of work around the fact that Kagari is at 1. Now, in the OCG, they had a very easy solution to this because Pot of Avarice was at 3, and so it was kind of like Zodiac, where you'd want to like cycle through all of your different Sky Striker monsters or hand traps potentially. Then you can just Pot of Avarice, shuffle them all back, and draw 2. So that's really good, but unfortunately, we do not have that card here in the TCG. So a lot of players are looking to a card like Magnet Reverse. Now, this isn't a card that we probably haven't seen since ABC format, and yes, Sky Striker Link monsters are in fact machines, which means Magnet Reverse can be used to resurrect them, and Kagari just says when it's special summon, meaning that you can trigger it off of something like Magnet Reverse and get its effect multiple times. Not to mention, it is a spell card, meaning it's going to fit perfectly in the strategy, just adding to the spell count in your graveyard, and it's also a quick play, so that's a pretty neat innovation there. There's also stuff like Hercules Base, which is already native to the archetype that a lot of players have chosen to forego just because they didn't really feel like the recycling was necessary. If you're able to manage your resources appropriately enough, you don't really need a card like Hercules Base, but now that Kagari is at 1, players might start splashing one of this in just as another way to get access to that Kagari again. But let's be real here. Sky Striker Engage is still at 3, Widow Anchor is still at 3, Multi-Roll is still at 3. That's one of the big ones here. Yes, Kagari is important, but Multi-Roll is just as powerful as a recursive resource as Kagari is, maybe even more so if I'm going to be completely honest here. So we'll just have to see, but a lot of people are, you know, kind of on the fence about Sky Striker right now, but realistically, I think it's still one of the best decks of the format. Is it the best deck? I guess we'll have to see, but I definitely do not think Sky Striker is going anywhere, and with YCS Knoxville coming up in early June, I definitely expect to see Sky Striker in the top cut. Now, I do want to go ahead and pivot on to Salamander. Now, Salamander, again, got another slap on the wrist here. So, Salamander, none of the main components of the deck were hit, but Lady Debug did in fact go to 1. And Lady Debug, while it is important to the archetype, it gave the deck an inherent weakness to Ghost Ogre that it didn't necessarily need, because the rest of the deck really doesn't crumble to Ghost Ogre whatsoever, but Lady Debug did. But now you can kind of look at it as, well, now you're not really going to need to run that one copy of Lady Debug. Some players weren't even running Lady Debug at all. Some players were going for Flame Buffalo or just opting not to play the card whatsoever just because they didn't want to have the extra normal summon or they didn't feel like it was necessary. Yes, Lady Debug is like a 1-card full combo, but again, it doesn't like take away anything from the central core strategy that Salamander has. And not to mention, in Dark Neostorm, Signet Mining is basically the same card, but in a spell. Now, the one difference is here, instead of a +1, it is kind of like a -1 because you have to use 2 cards just to get 1. But the interesting thing about Signet Mining is A, it doesn't use your normal summon, but B, you discard a card, or I actually believe you send a card from your hand to the graveyard, which means you could send any of your graveyard recursive cards, like let's say a Spinny or a Foxy or a Jack Jaguar or a Falco, meaning that you're kind of mitigating the cost of Signet Mining. And yeah, sure, you're susceptible to Ash Blossom, but the deck already has weaknesses to that anyway, and in that same light, so was Lady Debug. So realistically, there's not really anything that Salamander has lost here, and I definitely expect Salamander to thrive in the upcoming format. Now, the next biggest deck I want to discuss is Danger Thunder Dragon. Danger Thunder Dragon is also a winner here, even though this deck probably took the most hits out of any other deck on the ban list, because let's be real here, they lost Phantom Sky Blaster going to 1, Dark Matter Dragon got banned, Summon Sorceress got banned, like, so many hits came to this deck, and it's still going to be one of the strongest decks of the format. And the reason for that is because, yeah, sure, you lost your Goliath combo, and you're not able to, you know, use Dark Matter to do that. You can still summon Goliath off of Hieratic Seal of Celestial Spheres, so it's not like that's necessarily gone, it's just you lost the degenerate bonus of playing a card like Dark Matter to enable this combo. But furthermore, you can still do stuff like rip 2 cards out of your opponent's hand with Levianeer and Diabolos, and you can summon a board of like Zombie Sign and Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss with a Colossus backing it. Those boards are still very doable. Maybe they might take an extra extender, because I know combos like, let's say, the Solar Battery Man plus White Dragon Wyvern Burster combo have lost a little bit of potency because Summon Sorceress got banned. Summon Sorceress was just like a bonus here. The deck has so many extenders that realistically, it's not going to hinder the deck whatsoever, and I'm sure players are going to innovate and find more ways to make this deck even more explosive. I think it actually just took away some of the more degenerate tendencies, even though this deck probably has some of the more unfair aspects out of all the decks in the top tier category. But Danger Thunder Dragon isn't going anywhere, and that's why it is a winner on this list. And the last big meta deck I want to cover is Orcas, because again, Orcas did take a little bit of a hit here with Azathoth getting banned, or not Azathoth, rather the rank up magic spell, excuse me. But the thing is, that was just kind of a bonus. The fact that you could Azathoth your opponent during their turn was very powerful, do not get me wrong, but it's not like it needs it to be able to perform. I mean, the thing is, the deck is still very powerful, not to mention with the support coming in Dark Neostorm, we're getting an Xyz monster that's able to send cards to the graveyard and doesn't target, so that's insane. It has a counter trap that banishes and negates, and also you can banish it to search for Orcas cards. Like, the support that this archetype is getting in Dark Neostorm is nuts, and it's one of the best decks currently in the OCG, if not the best deck, I'm fairly certain. So that just goes to show that Orcas is only going to get better, and again, it just kind of lost one of the more degenerate aspects to it, but that's not taking anything away. Yeah, sure, it lost Summon Sorceress as well, but you didn't need Summon Sorceress to do any of the crazy powerful things that Orcas is capable of doing. Speaking of these combo decks though, let's talk about the dangers real quick. I mean, none of the dangers got touched at all. I mean, Nessie didn't get touched, Tsuchinoko didn't get touched, Jackalope didn't get touched. Like, a lot of people were expecting at least somewhat of a hit to the danger engine just because of how potent it is, but realistically, nothing got touched there, which means a lot of these combo decks that thrive off of the danger engine are going to be able to compete at least until after the Nene WCQ format, or at least the World Championship Qualifier format in general has passed, and we get our next ban list in July. I guess the last winner here worth mentioning is Dinosaur, because they did get Miscellaneousaurus back to 3. Is that going to matter? We'll just have to see, because honestly, I'm not sure, but Miscellaneousaurus is an incredibly good card, being able to just bestow you with protection, being able to special stuff, like, it's just so strong, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to find a way to make it work. Like I said, the deck topped a 700-person Philly regional, so it's obviously capable of being able to compete in this metagame. It just depends on if Miscellaneousaurus is enough to really have it compete. If anything, it's going to be a solid rogue option, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. So I guess that's going to go ahead and bring us on to the losers now, and what losers do we really have here? I mean, I guess Gandora FTK is a loser? Like, we saw this being demonstrated at the Pro Play Games Tour event in Dallas, and people were aware that you could do it, but it's now that Dark Matter's banned, I'm not even sure if you can play it anymore. I mean, if there is a way, I'm sure people are going to find it, but for like the 7 of you out there that were playing that deck, I guess that's unfortunate for you, but is that really a bad thing that an FTK got hit? Because I think that's actually more of a win, right? That's not exactly a loss in my eyes that we have one less FTK to worry about in the game, especially coming out of the FTK year that was 2018. So I think that's more of a win than a loss, but I guess to like the 7 FTK players, that's a loss. I think Dark Warrior's actually a big loser here because Dark Warrior was actually a very solid budget deck, as a matter of fact, and its main win condition kind of was going into Azathoth during the opponent's turn, and Summon Sorceress was one of the key components of that deck. And it doesn't mean Dark Warrior or Goki Dark Warrior, whatever, is unplayable. I'm sure you could still continuously link spam with that deck and actually do some pretty cool things, but I think you lost the central win condition of that deck and why you'd have the motivation to play it, so I guess that's kind of a loser here. I think Burning Abyss is actually a loser on this list because Cherubini's coming out in Dark Neostorm in the next couple of weeks, and I think it would have been amazing if they would have given us some of the Burning Abyss cards off the Forbidden and Limited list, maybe move like Graph or Seer just down to 2 possibly. I mean, I know I hate the semi-limited list, but if just moving one of them would have gotten people more excited to play Burning Abyss with Cherubini's release, I think that would have been a really good shot. I mean, Burning Abyss, people love Burning Abyss, and just giving anyone some incentive to play the deck, I think would have been a really nice thing, but honestly, I guess people are gonna try it anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter. I guess the only other loser here I can really think of is like Blue Eyes players, because Dark Matter was like another one of their best cards next to Soul Charge, now that's gone, so oh well, but like realistically, let's be honest, this is a very solid list. And yeah, I know some people are really sick of Sky Striker, and I know people are sick of Danger Thunder Dragon, and Salamander, even though it's still relatively embryonic compared to the other top decks, people are starting to get a little sick of it as well. But I think after the WCQ format, we're going to start seeing some more major hits to the list. I'm sure Sky Striker will definitely no longer be top tier after that, but we'll just go ahead and have to wait and see. I think overall, the format's actually been relatively good, because even though there's like 3 or 4 decks that are the best, there's viably like 10 to 12 different decks that you could top with at an event, and I think we've seen that across the past few major events from the previous format. So I'm really excited, and I think you guys should be too, but definitely let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this ban list. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and if you found this video informative, consider supporting me on Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member, because just by showing your support in any way that you can, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.